Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik, and this is a game Won the Pacific Admirals Edition. And this is my new play-by-email match against Xargun. He is the allied player, and for me it is Empire of Japan. Still. And yeah, this is now still, or also, scenario 1, but on the older game version 26B. The common version, I think 90% of the players are using actively. Last turn was the beginning of the campaign. Unluckily, my software switched off the voice recording when only in-game sound was active. So I have maybe to explain a little about the rules. This is all the typical invasion equipment, first going for the different bases. So for Malaya, I go with the original setup, at least the amount of troops sent to Malaya. I only change the competition or the combination of air fleets, where they're going, and what escort ships or bombardment support or something like this. But the troops are the same. And my focus will be, I think I will always do this, for Luzon first. It's simply my believing that taking out the Americans out of Luzon as quickly as possible will free up all of your equipment there and give Japan in the long run a better stand. So my airstrikes was more or less effective. This you saw already last time. There's always, I think, 5-6 submarines outside of the ports Xargun can use here. But in this game, compared to Kilroy's game, there's the Mark 14 issue. So only the S-boats are reliable, but these are smaller 21-inch torpedoes, First World War style, and they have roughly only the damage potential half of the Mark 14. So these submarines have not the range, they don't have so many torpedoes, and the torpedoes they have is less powerful against heavy Navy ships. For cargo ships and destroyers, I think it doesn't matter. Good. So, San Fernando, I took last time. My brave Japanese paratroopers make a morale shock attack, and the Filipinos throw away their weapons. And here you can hear mine hit. And this is not now a mine ship, this was now an allied ship sinking or hitting a mine. This is a AS Wisp when damage, but unlucky my submarine cannot hit this heavy damage ship, and you can also see how many ships are leaving here. Port of Manila, of course. If you stay longer in port, there's nothing to gain. This campaign, the house rules are very similar to the Kilroy game. So 4-engine allied bombers, no airstrike or no strike missions under 10,000 feet. And again, the torpedoes cannot hit. So Xargun is very lucky in this game so far. Or at least my submarines don't achieve too much in Hawaii. I was able to get 2 torpedo hits on battleships, but I'm not sure if this really matters. Here's the Dutch has small, also short-range submarine. The Dutch have also, like many other nations, like this is like American S-boat, short-range, weaker torpedoes. So these are more defense submarine, not fleet submarines. And I get 4 hits because this is shallow water. So Japan can effectively only battle enemy submarines up to summer of 42, roughly speaking, in shallow water. So shallow water is for the allied submarines dangerous, always. Deep water is normally always safe. at least for the first 6 months. So, some hits on the submarine, not enough to sink it, but maybe make it useless first. Unloading. Other house rules, I think all the common stuff was buy out units, don't make any yeah, paratroopers can only be used in full strength, so not break them down, or you must, if you make a paratroop drop, you can only choose one target and you must more or less consume all of the paratroops. I mean, you can also send only half of those paratroopers, but then you must rebuild them first to a full unit before you can drop this unit again. And we fly, and fly missions, or sweep missions, escort missions, whatever. Only 20,000 up to end of 42. In 43, open, doesn't matter more. I don't want to make it too complicated. Also, no industry bombardments in 41, 42. So first in 43, there's a full-scale strategic war, air war. And I don't know. The all other stuff was so, no walking in reserve mode, all of this stupid, what's stupid but doesn't matter. The, let's say, strange combination of functions the game can offer you. So if you have a cruiser, this is somewhere at the Philippine Sea, I pick you up to smaller cargo ships. Not so important AS, AOs or tankers. The S-boat, see in shallow water. And this S-boat looks now dead. Or at least out of action, that for sure. And there's no big port left for Xargun here in this area, because Malaya would be the only one, but it's not safe, so I'm not sure where this submarine won't go. The other big change is I offer this Kilroy, he won't have the working American torpedoes, or I cannot use Manchukuo army or Kwantung army. And Xargun, because he's new to the Allied side, he plays this game I think many years, much longer than me. But he's similar to me, only Japanese player so far. So this is the first time he plays the Americans or Allies. And so I said, okay, you have maybe better skills, but you're new to the Allies, so I will not use Kwantung army. I would always say Kwantung army, scenario 1, scenario 2, these are the big blocks of balancing your skills to each other. If everything is equal, I would say normally scenario 1, but Japan can use the Kwantung army, but again, you can balance this. This is simply a discussion between the two players and no one else. So I'm sweeping Manila, simply out of Formosa, and also sweep Clarkfield. This is the second day of the war, and I never played against Xargun, so I don't know how he play. Kilroy and Jochen and others, they are always aggressive, counter-attacking, makes sense, trying to inflict damage against the amphibious assault task forces, because it's the most easy way for the Allies to really inflict damage against the Japanese army early on. So sink the ships with the troops on board. Here also Singapore, I only make sure that these are typical targets for airstrikes. So I don't want that there's any cap fighter. So, but no one, everything is quiet. And if there's no one to trying to defeat, then I come to bomb. So my strategy was in the first turn to damage what is possible in Manila, or Philippines, Luzon, and Malaya. Not so much to really sink equipment. I don't go for task force set. I don't go for Pearl Harbor to sink there the battleships. I was really my idea was cripple the Allied submarine fleet in Manila and damaging all of the air assets, or most of them, in Luzon and Malaya, so that I will not suffer enemy counter airstrikes or submarine activities too early in the game. So this strike was not so powerful, but I can damage some B-17s. And this is also a follow-up strike for Georgetown. Suppress the airbase, and everything what is damaged on the ground is still damaged or even getting destroyed. Because Georgetown have no rail, so you cannot rail out any damaged equipment. And this is China's support bombardment. My China bombardment strategy is always find enemy units in clear terrain and bomb them. Of course, especially if they are soon be catched by Japanese ground forces. And because we have the rule of Guangdong Army, I must buy equipment out. I cannot go too aggressive with this. So I have also adjusted my Chinese strategy a little where to go, but the main focus will be, typical thrust against Xi'an and more slowly attempt in source of China, I would say. I don't want to say no attempt to take South China, but it's not the focus. And no Mongolian expedition army style. That is simply not possible with the little equipment I have. Also, the change to the Kilroy game or the Jochen game before. I try to build up a Malaya army, and the Malaya army will go for Singapore, and then there's a Burma army going directly for Burma over the mountains. So before I try to take Singapore first and then go for Burma, and in this game I try both at the same time without reinforcements. That is not easy, I would say, and can be countered, but I try to keep Burma reinforcements away. And if there's no reinforcements arriving in Burma, then it's hard for the British, hopefully, to keep and hold the lines against the Japanese have to conquer Burma at the start of the war. Singapore is a gamble. So this is the first real attack from Kilroy. He's going with his B-17s in a long-range missions against Palau Islands. But this is long-range, so the bomb load is only half and not much happened. So my carriers are still here at the Philippine Sea, and I try to catch here some fleeing ships. So AK, AS, this was the AS avoided my torpedoes before. Now these ships are all dead or dying soon. So there are so many sinking sounds that it is impossible to locate or guessing what is sinking. Yeah. Not that I have anything at Saipan, not in scenario 1. So I try to bomb a little, but not working. But you can try. This is a spot of clear terrain. So it's an easy target to inflict damage and not suffering a lot of flak. Chinese units don't have so much powerful flak. More light cargo ships. But nothing what is really important. The main strike is going here again for Manila. Torpedo hit, but no explosion. Okay. So this is now AM and mix sort of other equipment, but normally there was only this one AM. This maybe Xargun key hold in Manila area to lure enemy airstrikes, and this was successful. So I had there was this going for the port, but there's nothing left, so he scuttled everything what is damaged or sent it out, and it arrived at port or it will die. So I not really can create too much damage. I only damage the base, and this make it impossible or hard for him to build up forts at least. So if he try to attempt to hold for Manila, because Manila is the industry heart of Luzon, then it will be now more complicated. I always try to take Manila as fast as possible because it's a resource center, and if I can cut as fast as possible the Allied supply lines, then it would be a benefit for me. There's one of my small cargo ships, I think, hitting a rock and then sinking. Can happen. It was not damaged by enemy fire, it was an accident. So, Kuantan is now the point. I try to achieve the base or take the bases what is really important. Kuantan is not linked to the rail system of Malaya, so every damaged airplane must be destroyed by the Allied player or will be now destroyed by myself, by the Japanese troops. So this is my Manila Army Task Force, I don't know how you want to call it. And also can take everything and force out the troops to find rescued in Manila. So this operation, the main aspect is here, be close to Manila, but here's the Filipino division in this hex, and I won't cut the retreat way to Manila. So I destroyed one Filipino division in the north, it's San Fernando already. I cut one second Filipino division to reach Manila, and this weakens the Allied defense structure of Luzon. And this division is not completely destroyed, but it's damaged. This is now Kota Buru, the second airport at the east side of Malaya, but this is linked to the rail, so every damaged airplane can escape to Singapore. Whatever you do, it's impossible to take it day one, so I take it now at day two. The British forces are destroyed or out of combat readiness. I took the base, but no airplanes to destroy at the ground. And this was all. I still unloading troops at Luzon. I took the two bases at Malaya. Everything is successful, and so far this turn, no activity, only the B-17 strike on the Palau Islands from Xargun, so not a really strong response to the Japanese declaration of war. So if you saw Jochen or Kilroy, you will now imagine normally 100 bombers and fighters going for everything, and everyone is going completely aggressive, but in this match, no. So I have here, of course, a lot to manage. If you play Japan, especially in scenario 1, you better start to organize your ships as soon as possible. Use the time the Allies have no submarines around Japan to get everything in order, because latest after 1 or 2 months, submarines will maybe appear. So in China, there's not too much to say. It's too early to talk here. I really only strike what is possible. I will buy out the Japanese second air army out of Manchukuo. I think everyone will do this. This will give me more air power in China. Yeah. So the landing was successful. More ships are coming. I was able so far to bring in 500 attack value, but yeah. I took this hex, cut the rail. So there's a one Filipino unit coming, but so Xargun was trying to reinforce the position, but I calculated the amount of troops I need to take some bases. It's always a gamble, you can always fail, it's never a guarantee. But well, I go a little risky in this game. So my tanks are already in the next hex. I try to simply push as soon as possible down here. I have here also the aviation support, the engineers, and I already building up here the airfield, so as soon as possible to reach a level 6, because up to 6 I can pay the normal price. After 6 you, I think, triple price for everything over the number original the hex is built for. My airstrikes was not so powerful or not so successful. I was hoping to catch here more ships, but yeah, Xargun go out, whatever. He don't waited and hoped he can maybe repair some ships here. So it was maybe a little waste to stay here, but I make sure that at least Manila is now so damaged. Clarkfield is also damaged, so there's no defense possible. So maybe it's always hard to say where you stay best. It's always a reaction game. So all your strategies can be countered by the enemy. So yeah, I have a lot of submarines. This is the starting of the game, so not many choices. I took the two bases. All is fine. I will try to repair these bases. The only really problem is that the bases and airfields are they're all heavily damaged from my airstrikes and landing battles, so yeah, I cannot use them immediately. And my future plan is more or less not really do here much. I will send a task force or the battle group down the road and take this hub, because it's a jungle rough, so triple terrain. This is always this kind of hexes you want to take as soon as possible, because at the start of the war there's no really defense organized, but the terrain is very easily to defend, so take them fast before the British can dig in, or you will have to bombard in battle for a long time, or you have a lot of firepower. But a lot of firepower in this area of Malaya will mean waste of time. Time is the enemy of Japan in the first 3 months of the war, the number one enemy. So yeah, I will organize my armies and my task forces for Southeast Asia, but so far there's nothing to say and to see. Yeah, and I really don't have too much to talk. My focus is really Luzon first in Malaya and Southeast Asia, South Pacific or Southeast Pacific. But this needs time, I will not rush it too much. Air losses so far at day 2, Allies lost 25 airplanes, mostly I think on the ground, plus 8 for myself. So you can see ops losses. The game counts them now like ops losses, but they are normally destroyed on the ground. But yeah, because there was damage at the base, and I took the base, and then they're destroyed, and then they're ops losses. I still don't like it, but this is the differential of the game. These 2 airplanes getting destroyed on the ground by airstrikes, so then they're destroyed by, then they're ground losses. And for me, it's, I think today, mainly ops losses. I had 1 flag kill. Okay. So we have now 104 to 20. That is a good ratio. I lost 4 pilots still today. That is not a good ratio. And I was hoping for more aggressive strikes out of Malaya. So I have here my cover air group, my carriers. But they have nothing to do. Not really. So I can only use them for striking air ground forces. The problem is these 2 carriers are okay to defend the task force. This the Zeros can do, but their strike missions are limited. And I cannot cover or escort my strike missions and at the same time cover the hex against enemy strike missions. So I can only say my Zeros are for defense, and my strike airplanes can only go to an airbase where I can more or less guarantee no enemy fighter. So I could normally use them to attack maybe Singapore port or whatever, or let them fly choose by commander or something like this, but then I have always the risk that I run in enemy cap fighters. And Buffaloes are not the best fighters, but they are still strong enough to kill any Val or Kate torpedo bomber and dive bomber. Yeah. Okay. So I keep it short, and if you have questions, ask again, and I hope I have now always voice again for the future. See you, take care, bye bye.